When you apply force, strain produced in spring. When you increase the stress, strain also increases. The figure shows the change in length produced in spring for various forces. We can plot graph between stress and strain. Stress and strain curve varies from material to material. The curve helps to understand how a given material deforms with increasing force. From graph, we can see that the region O2A is linear. In this region, Hooke's law is obeyed. That is, stress proportional to strain. That is, stress increases, strain also increases. When applied force is removed, body regain its original position. This region is known as elastic region and the solid behave as a elastic body. In the region A to B, stress and strain are not linearly proportional, but the body regains its original position when the force is removed. The point B is known as yield point or elastic limit and the corresponding stress is known as yield strength noted by SY. If the load is increased further, the stress developed exceeds the yield strength and the strain increases rapidly even for a small change in the stress. The portion of the curve between B and D show this. When the load is removed, say at some point C between B and D, the body does not regain its original dimension. In this case, even when the stress is 0, the strain is not 0. The material is said to have a permanent set. The deformation is called plastic deformation, and the region is known as plastic region. The point D on the graph is known as ultimate tensile strength noted by SU of the material. Beyond this point, additional strain is produced even for a small applied force and fracture occurs at point E. If the ultimate strength and fracture point are very close, the material is said to be brittle. Example, glass, slate, antimony, bismuth, etc. When D and E are far apart, the material is said to be ductile. Example, aluminium, copper and steel. The above explained graph shows the stress-strain curve for a typical metal. As stated earlier, the stress-strain behavior varies from material to material. Here shows the stress-strain curve for the elastic tissue of aorta. The graph shows that for a small stress, a very large strain produced in the elastic tissue of aorta. These substances are known as elastomers, that is, substances which can be stretched to cause large strains are called elastomers. Example, rubber tissue of aorta. Let us study the types of stress and strain. The first one is longitudinal stress. Stretch a cylinder made up of clay at its two ends. Applied force is normal to its cross-sectional area. Here the length of the cylinder is increased. So restoring force per unit area is known as the tensile stress. Now compress the cylinder on both sides. The length of the cylinder is decreased. Stress in this case is called compressive stress. Tensile stress and compressive stress are together known as longitudinal stress. In both the cases, the length of the cylinder is changed to delta L. So, change in length delta L to original length L is called longitudinal strain. Tangential stress or shearing stress. Let us study with one activity. Apply force on both sides of the cylinder in opposite directions. The force should be parallel to cross-sectional area. There is a relative displacement between the two faces of the cylinder. The stress developed in this case is known as tangential stress or shearing stress. The ratio of relative displacement delta x to the length of the cylinder is known as shearing strain. It can be also written as delta x by L equal to tan theta. Theta is the angular displacement of the cylinder, and generally the value of theta is very small, so tan theta is approximately equal to theta. Third one is hydraulic stress. Take a solid sphere and place it in a fluid. Under high pressure of fluid, the ball is being compressed uniformly in all directions. The applied force by the fluid is perpendicular to each point of the surface and the ball is said to be compressed. This hydraulic compression changes the volume of the sphere, but there is no change in the geometrical shape, and the internal restoring force developed in the ball, which are equal and opposite to the force applied by the fluid. This restoring force per unit area is known as hydraulic stress, and the strain produced in this case is known as the volume strain. So, volume strain is equal to the ratio of change in volume delta V to the original volume V, and the volume strain has no units. We studied the modulus of elasticity. It is the ratio of stress and strain and is represented by K. K equal to stress by strain. Then different types of modulus of elasticity are there. Then the first one is Young's modulus of elasticity. It is the ratio of longitudinal stress to longitudinal strain. That is Y equal to sigma by epsilon, longitudinal stress equal to F by A, and longitudinal strain equal to delta L by L equal to F L by A delta L. Its unit is Newton per meter square or Pascal. Young's moduli of metals are very large. There, the Young's modulus of steel is 200 into 10 raised to 9 Newton per meter square. This value is more than that of aluminium, copper, iron, etc. Which means that when you apply a very large force, there should be a very small strain produced in steel. So, we can say that steel is more elastic than copper, brass, aluminium, rubber, etc. Shear modulus or modulus of rigidity. It is represented by G equal to shearing stress by shearing strain. Shearing stress is noted as sigma S. That is G equal to F by A divided by delta X by L, FL divided by A delta X. This is the mathematical expression of shear modulus or modulus of rigidity. So, we can write G equal to shearing stress sigma divided by shearing strain theta. So, shearing stress sigma S equal to G into theta, and the unit of modulus of rigidity is Newton per meter square or Pascal. The third one is bulk modulus. It is the ratio of hydraulic stress to the hydraulic strain represented by B. B equal to minus P divided by delta V by V. Delta V by V is the volume strain or hydraulic strain. Its unit is Newton per meter square or Pascal. Negative sign represents that when the pressure increases, volume decreases. Reciprocal of bulk modulus of elasticity is known as the compressibility. When bulk modulus increases, compressibility decreases. So, solids have larger bulk moduli. So, it is least compressible. we cannot compress the solid easily. And the bulk moduli of solids are greater than that of liquids and gases. So, the bulk moduli of liquids and gases are less. So, it is most compressible. We can compress the gases very easily. So, solids are least compressible whereas gases are most compressible because solids have greater bulk moduli than that of liquids and gases.